Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into something that affects millions of people, higher education. We've all been told it's the surefire path to a better life, but what if, for many, it's become a financial trap? The real cost is, frankly, way more shocking than you probably think. Okay, let's just jump right in with the single most staggering fact from our research. Nearly a third of all bachelor's degree programs in the US have a negative return on investment. Let that sink in. That means students actually end up financially worse off than if they had just started working right out of high school. I know, right? It sounds completely backward. It goes against everything our parents, our teachers, our whole society has told us. How can an investment that's supposed to build wealth actually leave you poorer? To get it, we've got to look past the glossy college brochures and into the broken promise at the very heart of the system. So before we dive into all the national data and the big numbers, it's really important to understand the human story. Because for millions, this isn't about abstract economics, it's about their daily lives and a future that looks nothing like the one they were sold. So let's meet Alex. She's a composite character based on stories from our sources. She's 24, she did everything right, got the degree, landed a full-time job in her field. But right now, she's sitting in her car after work, staring at her bank account, literally trying to figure out if she can afford groceries after her student loan payment just hit. This is the quiet crisis happening in parking lots all across the country. And this was the sales pitch, wasn't it? We all heard it in the guidance counselor's office. It's an investment. The debt is good debt. It's just a normal, temporary hurdle on your way to the middle class. But for Alex and millions just like her, that promise feels pretty broken. Alex's story, it's not a one-off. Not even close. So let's zoom out and see how this very personal struggle has ballooned into a national crisis. The individual stories are powerful, for sure, but the numbers are just staggering. Just look at this number, $1.75 trillion. That is the total student loan debt in the United States. To put that into perspective, it is larger than the entire economy of Australia. It's this massive weight on a whole generation, shaping every single major life decision they make. So where does a number that big even come from? Well, here's the receipt for 4 years of college. Even a public in-state school is going to run you over $100,000. But look at the top end, almost $400,000 for a degree from a top private university. You're basically paying Lamborghini prices for a diploma. And this is where it gets really interesting. You see how fast a supposedly good salary can just evaporate. Alex makes $52,000 a year, but after taxes, her massive student loan bill, rent, and just basic living costs, she's left with $470 a month. That's it. That's for everything else. Savings, an emergency car repair, any hope of actually building a life. It is a financial treadmill she just can't get off of. And that treadmill, it runs for decades. This isn't just about being broke in your 20s. The debt becomes a 20-year anchor, delaying or just flat out preventing major life milestones. By the time Alex is finally free at age 43, she will have spent half of her working life paying for just 4 years of school. This chart right here really gets to the core of the problem. It's not just that students are borrowing more, it's that the product itself has gotten astronomically more expensive. Since 1980, the cost of college has shot up at nearly double the rate of everything else. The advice to just get a degree hasn't changed, but the financial game has been completely rewritten under our feet. So the big question is, how did this happen, right? How did a system that was supposed to create opportunity become so incredibly expensive and, honestly, so punishing? Well, our sources point to a perfect storm of 3 key factors that basically broke the whole thing. First, you've got this massive administrative bloat, with universities hiring way more bureaucrats than actual teachers. Second, there's this amenities arms race, where colleges build luxury facilities to lure in students. And third, and this is the big one, you have a federal loan system with no brakes, which basically gives colleges a blank check. And if you want to see that amenities arms race in action, look no further than this little gem. Colleges aren't just competing on academics anymore. They're competing on luxury. They're building actual water parks and fancy student centers. And guess who pays for it? The cost gets passed directly to students through fee hikes, all funded by debt. And this brings us to the most crucial piece of the puzzle. When the government guarantees that students can borrow almost unlimited amounts of money, universities have zero incentive to control their costs. In fact, they have every incentive to raise them. They're basically just harvesting government subsidies while the students are left holding all of the risk. But, amidst this kind of bleak picture, it's so important to remember that the four-year degree is not the only game in town. It's not the only path to a successful career. And for a lot of people, the alternatives are actually proving to be way more lucrative and financially sound. I mean, let's just compare the two paths side by side. Path 1, a four-year degree. You're looking at massive debt and a totally unpredictable starting salary. Path 2, an apprenticeship. Here, you get paid to learn, you finish with zero debt, and you can walk into a job earning over $70,000 a year. The choice seems kind of obvious when you lay it out like that. And it's not just apprenticeships. Trade schools can lead to six-figure incomes for master electricians. Coding boot camps can get you a great starting salary in tech. And specific certifications, like for cloud computing, can lead to salaries well over $130,000. The modern economy values specific, in-demand skills, not just a piece of paper. So the key takeaway here is really a call to action. We have to stop treating college like it's just the automatic next step after high school and start treating it as what it actually is, one of the biggest financial investments you will ever make. And that means you have to do the brutal math. And you have to be specific. Don't just look at national averages for business majors. No, you need to research what the median graduate from the exact program at the exact university you're considering actually earns 1 year out and 5 years out. That data is out there. You just have to look for it. Okay, so once you have a realistic salary number, work backward. Go online, find a loan calculator, and figure out what your monthly payment is going to be. Does that payment leave you enough room to actually live and save and build a life? Or does it put you on Alex's financial treadmill? Don't trust the college's marketing brochure. Trust your own math. And finally, you have to calculate the opportunity cost. This is the thing nobody talks about. It's not just about the tuition money. It's 4 years of lost wages you could have been earning. It's 4 years of missed investment growth. That time and that money, if you invested it differently, could be worth millions by the time you retire. That is the true hidden cost of this college for all mindset. And this brings us to a final, really provocative thought. For the millions of students drowning in debt, the system feels broken. It feels like it failed them. But from the perspective of the institutions, it's been a wild success. It's a system that is perfectly designed to transfer wealth from young people to universities, with the government guaranteeing the whole transaction. And the final question is, do you still want to play that game?